Good morning, YouTube. I've decided to stick with focusing on trees with opposite leaves for now, as there's not too many different families to go. After covering ash trees in the last family, we're going to move on to some maple trees that also have opposite leaves. So the maple family the scientific name is Aceraceae. They can be trees or shrubs. Their leaves are opposite. The majority of the species, the leaves are also simple. That means one leaf is the leaf. It's not several leaflets making up a leaf as it was with the ash trees. However, there is one species, the box elder, where the leaves are compound, not simple. So you can have 3 to 5 leaflets making up a single leaf. And this tree is also sometimes referred to as an ash maple, just because it's sort of similar with ashes having multiple leaflets making up one leaf, whereas all the other maples just have a single leaf as their leaf. The flowers have 5 sepals and 5 petals, with male and female parts on separate flowers, and the fruits are also similar to ash. They're samaras, but in the case of maples, they have 2 wings instead of just the single one, whereas ash would just have a single leaf like that. So these are the fruits here with the seeds encapsulated inside. For the leaves with maples, the majority of them are toothed, so you can see the tooths here along the edges, instead of just being smooth around. And they're also lobed, so you can see this leaf here has 3 lobes, like 3 main points. And the amount of lobes is often used to distinguish the different species. So, for example, some species have 3 lobes. So this is a eastern mountain maple and a striped maple, whereas many other species have 5 lobes. So this is a silver maple leaf up here and a sugar maple leaf down here. So in our area, there's a few different species, and as you go further north, they get more common, but the main species are sugar maple, silver maple. Norway maples are cultivated by people. They were brought over, but sometimes they do escape cultivation, so you can find them in the wild as well. And so these are just charts comparing some differences between the many maple species. You can see here again the box elder or the ash maple with multiple leaflets making up one leaf. So I'm looking at my field guide here, and as I previously stated, the amount of lobes on a leaf can help determine which species you're looking at. But again, to know whether or not it's a maple, they will have opposite simple leaves. Unless it's a box elder, then it will be opposite compound leaves. But there are only about 4 different families that have opposite leaves as opposed to alternate leaves. So if you find one with opposite leaves, hopefully you'll have a much easier time narrowing it down to the family and then the species. Some other distinguishing characteristics that can help you narrow it down to which species it is: how many scales on their buds. Some will only have 2, and some will have more than 2. The length of the samara, the fruit, as you can see here, different lengths for different species. And let's see here. Another characteristic is leaves whitened beneath. So the striped maple and the eastern mountain maple. Whoops. Where am I? Sorry, I lost my place here. The striped maple and the eastern mountain maple are not whitened beneath, whereas the red maple, silver maple, and the introduced sycamore maple will be white on the underside, or a paler color. So the color on the underside of the leaf versus on top will also help you distinguish between the different species. So that's pretty much it for maples. There's not too many different species around here, as you can see listed, and a couple of them, the Norway maple and the sycamore maple, are introduced. Sometimes they do escape cultivation, so you may find them in the wild as well. So that's just something to be wary of. But yeah, so the next video we will continue looking at opposite placed trees with oppositely placed leaves, and we'll finish those off first and then move on to alternate placed trees with alternate placed leaves. Although we already did cover one family with the birch family. So originally I was just going in the order that I had them in my PowerPoint, but now we're going to finish off all the opposite leaves first, and then we'll move on, go back to the alternate leaves.